days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to today's show. We're going to be going over a lot of different topics that have come out from Kyle Shanahan's press conferences, and there's going to be a lot of news all week as the 49ers prepare to go against the Dallas Cowboys.
Tons, Ant. Tons. It's playoff week. It's playoff news update time. We can basically just say playoffs after everything on the pod right now, Ant, and accurate. It'd be accurate and makes it all the more all the more important, all the more crucial to what's going on with the 49ers. But there's a lot of news surrounding the 49ers. And we got to start with injury updates, Ant, because it's the most I don't know if it's like the most key thing in the entire world, but it's the thing people care about most, because the Niners went into the game a little banged up. They came out of the game a little banged up as well. There's guys dealing with some stuff. So let's start with all of them. Let's start with Trent WIlliams, most specifically, one of the big names that didn't make it to the game. And he was close, but not close enough. Kyle said, basically they didn't feel he was in good enough shape to protect himself, both with the elbow injury and keep Jimmy Garoppolo upright consistently. And so they felt they needed to go with a different route. And we all thought that would be Jalen Moore. It ended up being Colton McKivitz, and he did a very good job in that game, especially after the slow start.
Yeah.
But Kyle thinks, Trent is number one, very excited the Niners got the win and have a chance to play in the playoffs, because now he gets another chance to play and finish the season out, on a better note. But he thinks he needs about 7 days. So we may see a very limited Trent WIlliams all week this week, maybe even a couple of DNPs in preparation to give him as much time as possible to get ready Sunday. Does that worry you at all?
Yeah, it sounds to me like it's going to be another game time decision. So when it becomes a game time decision, there's always a worry and concern that he won't be going. The way they talked about it earlier in the week last week was that, he's probably going to be able to go. And it sounds like they were just disguising it last week. I'm hopeful that he's going to be able to go. But we do have some question marks. They did decide to go with Colton McKivitz this last week. We both believe because of the run game aspect, where he was able to add to the run game and do a lot of things in that area. I mean, they felt like they're probably both going to struggle in the pass. But that Colton McKivitz was just a better run blocker than Jalen Moore. We got a different animal that we're going to be going against Dallas. Of course, you're going to see Micah Parsons coming off the edge. And, of course, no Trent WIlliams means there will be a weakness that the Dallas Cowboys will want to attack and go after. Is that something that you worry about, Alex? Because Trent WIlliams is 7 days. Doesn't sound like there's going to be any practice this week. It sounds like hopefully on Sunday, when it gets time to do warm-ups, Trent WIlliams is ready to go.
It's concerning, man. Because I was under the impression that he was close to playing Sunday. That was the report I thought I read. So if that is the case, that didn't come from the 49ers. It came from someone else. Whoever reported that was wrong. Because if he needs 7 days per Kyle Shanahan, he wasn't close to playing this past week. That wasn't going to happen. He was going to be out. And I agree with you that they definitely, made it seem like he had a chance to play this last week. And then obviously that didn't come to pass. But yeah, 7 days is a long time. That means he needs 7 good days. And that doesn't mean he needs, a couple of good days and then no setbacks. He needs 7 good days is what it sounds like, and no setbacks. As long as he has no setbacks, it could be good. This is concerning. Can you get by without Trent WIlliams in back-to-back weeks? The Cowboys D-line is no joke, and you got to imagine they use Micah Parsons all over the place. They'll use him as a pass rusher. They'll use him coming off the edge. They'll send him up the middle. They put him in the middle at the middle linebacker spot. They'll put him on the outside in coverage. They use him everywhere. Dan Quinn will be licking his chops, if there's no Trent WIlliams on the left side of the line on Sunday.
Yeah, and the one advantage the 49ers would have in that situation could be run again. So you could see Colton McKivitz. You might want Colton McKivitz blocking a Micah Parsons and pushing him off the edge, and maybe that's where you take advantage of them in the run game. But that's a little bit early for that, but it does give me pause about this 49ers offensive line. They got it done against a good Los Angeles Rams team with very good edge rushers, but you saw in crunch time, when it came down to it, there was the one play Von Miller absolutely schooled Colton McKivitz. Great wrist control, gets up the field, bends the corner, and gets to Jimmy Garoppolo. It looked like at the time it was a game sealer. Luckily, the 49ers got the ball back. But, I mean, that's the type of thing that Trent WIlliams doesn't allow. Hopefully Trent Williams is able to go. But yes, I'm concerned until I hear he's going to be active, because normally I used to go off the injury report, and if the player was questionable, they had a really good chance to play, and I felt comfortable about it. Trent Williams was questionable for this Los Angeles Rams game, so I no longer can take that in consideration. At this point, that questionable means they're probably going to play.
Agreed with you on that. You just can't. You can't take that. You can't. It's all now up in the air, right? All of that is, it makes you doesn't you don't feel as comfortable about those questionable designations. And another guy that was activated off the COVID list we thought was going to be playing was Trent WIlliams. We thought the Shark was going to be out there, and then it ended up being that wasn't the case. Kyle didn't talk to him on Monday. He said, though, that he would be surprised if K1 wasn't available and ready to go for Wednesday practice. I probably feel the same way. It seemed like he's done dealing with the COVID, but he's dealing with another illness on top of the COVID, because as you and I both know with the Coov, you can get the Coov, but a lot of the times what the Coov does is just makes it easier for you to get sick with something else as well. And so it looks like K1 was dealing with that. He's dealing with probably a cold or something else, some other sort of illness that kept him out of the game Sunday. And it looks like he's going to be A-OK for Wednesday practice, which is a good thing for the 49ers heading into this week, in which you have a team, with CeeDee Lamb out there and other things, in which, they have a lot of weapons in the wide receiver room. You want to have your best pieces out there and weapons to go against that. Also, injuries at the safety position, meaning you may not have DJ to play in the slot. He may have to play somewhere else. And so we'll get to that safety talk in a little bit later in the episode. But K1 Williams should be good to go Wednesday. That make you feel good?
Yeah, it does. And I think a lot of the reason it makes me feel good is because it was obvious respiratory. And we know we're here in California. There was a respiratory illness that's going around that's separate from the Coov that is affecting a lot of people. And it's putting a lot of fluid on their lungs and making it hard to breathe. And they got a cough and they can't get rid of it. So this is something that definitely held him out. But you've seen, the impact that was there from him being gone. Early in this game, the 49ers were using Dante Johnson in the slot, and the Los Angeles Rams are taking advantage of him. And so later they went to Darqueze Dennard, and he seemed to do a little bit better. Dennard ends up being a huge signing for the 49ers last week. It came out of desperation as they had all their players go onto the COVID list. But, I mean, that was a big move for them, and it ended up paying dividends. He also was playing on special teams. I wonder if Darqueze Dennard earned himself some snaps in the playoffs as well. We'll see. But hopefully it's K1 Williams in the nickel in the slot, because I feel a lot more comfortable with him. Plus, he can add the added aspect of the blitz and stuff, where you can keep Jimmy Ward back and bring the Shark off the edge. Let Jimmy Ward take his role in that slot where Jimmy Ward can get it done. That's a little bit better for us in that situation.
1,000%. 1,000% is a much better situation for the 49ers. They had two players who did play in the game that made it out without much more damage, I guess is the right way to put it. Jimmy Garoppolo and Elijah Mitchell. Jimmy Garoppolo, obviously, with the thumb injury, made it out of the game in good shape per Kyle Shanahan. They're feeling like he's going to be fine. He's good to go. They're just going to limit him, obviously, throughout the week. So we'll get some limited practice and snaps from Jimmy Garoppolo all week. Trey will continue to probably get some reps and stay ready to go in case something happens to Jimmy on Sunday, or, God forbid, leading up into Sunday and putting Trey in a situation where he has to last minute prep for a game. None of us want to throw Trey into the fire if he's not fully 100% prepared. But look, they're going to get Trey ready in case something happens to Jimmy. Jimmy is going to be good to go. And Elijah Mitchell, looks like he made it out of the game okay per Kyle Shanahan. They're just going to be cautious with him all week, limit him during practices, and make sure that knee's 100%, because you and I both know it. 49ers know it. Kyle Shanahan knows it. Elijah Mitchell is the lead back in San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, these are two guys that we definitely need to have in the playoffs. And you're going to be managing injuries at this point. Everyone is dealing with something, and some people just a little bit more. So managing players in practice is what's going to be going on. They've had, some of them 16, 17 weeks of the regular season, not to mention all the time in training camp to prepare for moments like this. Missing a few practices or a few weeks of practice is not going to be the end of the world, especially for these guys. You need them healthy, and you need Elijah Mitchell on the field. The dynamic things that we're doing, where they're putting Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel in the backfield together and running one or either of the two in a ghost motion situation, was really nice. And it just definitely was getting the attention of the defense, and it's something they can go to. But you don't want to have to rely on Deebo Samuel to get all the chunk plays, all the big time carries. You want that other guy to rely on. And Elijah Mitchell's been that guy. He's been a bell cow type of back for the 49ers. A lot of people thought it was going to be Trey Sermon. But right now it is Elijah Mitchell, and he's elevated himself to one of the better running backs, maybe even one of the best running backs in the playoffs right now.
Accurate, very, very accurate. We'll see what happens. He just needs to stay healthy. If he can, that's going to be a great thing for the 49ers. We'll see how this week goes for him in practice. Hopefully that knee doesn't flare up and swell up. But Mitch Wishnowsky wasn't so lucky. He did go into the game. He got knocked out with a concussion. He's still in concussion protocol. No updates from Kyle Shanahan in terms of where he's at in his concussion protocol. But he's going to be it's not going to be something that happens quick. And that looked like a pretty nasty, vicious hit. He looked like he was out cold on the field. I saw the replay of the hit and him lying there afterwards. The trainer for the Rams even came up to him almost immediately and was tending to him because he saw the hit and came running over. I'm hoping Mitch is going to be A-okay, but the Niners, I imagine, are going to be making a move with a punter onto the practice squad, getting that person ready and elevated by game time if Mitch cannot clear concussion protocol. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and since they worked out punters a couple weeks ago, they definitely have a list of guys they want to bring in. They'll bring someone in and they'll sign him, and that guy will be prepared if he needs to be elevated off the practice squad. But at least we know that Robbie Gould can do it in a pinch. And I hate to be this guy, but I am thankful that we lost Mitch Wishnowsky and not Robbie Gould in that situation, because we've seen Wishnowsky try to do Gould's job. And now we've seen Gould do Wishnowsky's job. Gould does a better Wishnowsky impersonation than Wishnowsky does a Gould impersonation.
And I will say this as someone who punted. Punting is a lot easier than kicking field goals. A lot easier than kicking field goals. It's two different styles of kicks. A lot of different things can go wrong on a field goal on a field goal attempt or kicking an extra point. Lot less can go wrong on a punt. A lot less.
That's probably why there's a lot more kickers in the NFL Hall of Fame than punter.
Accurate. And very, very rarely do you have a punter who changes the game in that sort of way and does it at such an effect. There's literally only been a handful. Two other guys who entered the game and exited the game that their status maybe isn't as severe as Mitch Wishnowsky's. Jaquiski, Tartt, and Talanoa Hufanga, both safeties for the Niners. Tartt exited the game. It looked like second half, and I think it was a groin injury is what he was dealing with. Kyle said they got positive news from the MRI, so no severe structural damage for Jaquiski, Tartt. That's a good sign. They're going to see where he's at on Wednesday and then kind of make decisions and probably put the plan together. I would imagine today and tomorrow is what they were, Monday and today, which is Tuesday. And they're going to figure out what they got to do with Jaquiski Tartt in order for him to possibly be able to go Sunday in this Cowboys game. I think that's a positive thing for all 49ers fans. I think everyone can feel good about that. I think you and I know if you have Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt out there, your secondary maybe has some question marks, but your safety room is solid with those two gentlemen out there in space.
I think that if we go out there and we have, Aubrey Thomas, Emmanuel Mosley, and then Tartt and Ward, I'll feel really comfortable about the secondary. Aubrey Thomas has come out in a big way, but it does hinge on the fact that we need Jaquiski Tartt out there. We went not just without Tartt, but without Talanoa Hufanga too as well. This is a big concern for the 49ers. You're dealing with a groin, and Alex, you know this. When you're dealing with groins, those things just don't go away. They're nagging. They linger. So the level at which this is this something where, he just tweaked it and he was afraid, that maybe it stretched a little bit, something like that? Or is this a actual, pull or strain because those will keep him out, not just for 1 week, but for multiple weeks. And this is also something that can be re-injured in a blink of an eye. You go to roll over as a corner, you go to flip your hips, or as a DB, you go to flip your hips. Next thing you know, there goes the groin. This can happen really quick.
Try and change directions, get a little too low in space, load a little too hard to try and explode up and contest a pass. There are a lot of ways you can aggravate and mess up that groin, as Coach Rhodey used to say, that groin muscle now. You won't pull no groins out here. I do those groin stretches, Coach.
You got to do the groin stretch.
You got to do that groin stretch, which in hindsight was actually probably the worst thing we can do because you're not supposed to stretch cold muscles. But I digress, Ant. Look, if Jaquiski Tartt is out there, Ant, I feel a lot better about the 49ers safety room and the secondary. I feel like I feel like D'Amico Ryans has all the pieces too, right? To disguise his coverages, to get these guys in and out, to bring one of them up in the box, be able to run your cover three when you need to. I feel good. I feel comfortable about it. But if Talanoa Hufanga is healthy, then it's fine as well, because I think Talanoa Hufanga has shown at times he can do similar things. He doesn't do it to the same level as Tartt, but he's been extremely serviceable. But he was ruled out during the game with a knee injury. It looks like it's the same knee. Kyle said Hufanga irritated the same knee as the previous injury, We're going to see where he's at on Wednesday. He's still going to have a chance, is what he said. Kyle Shanahan, the word still has a chance, Ant, doesn't have the same meaning as I think. Like, I don't think Kyle Shanahan knows what has a chance means, because he said that this year for a lot of players, and none of those players have played. Not a single one.
I think when he's saying he still has a chance, there's like a 1% chance. Just some very outside chance. I think a lot of people think when it's outside that it's a chance, you're thinking like 50-50, like, oh, he could play, he could not. That's not what Kyle Shanahan means. It means they told him, hey, if all of this go right, there's this possibility, like a 5% chance that he's going to be out there. He's like, oh yeah, he still has a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, I'm really concerned about Talanoa Hufanga playing in this game. In fact, I will be kind of surprised if he does, pleasantly surprised. But I think he's one that's going to end up being deemed out because he re-aggravated that same knee and then was out for the rest of the game. This isn't like Elijah Mitchell, who's been playing with a knee injury but being able to play all the way through the games. Hufanga had to come out. I think this was a setback, and I think it might, actually cost him playing in this first playoff game against the Cowboys.
And that's unfortunate, man, because the Niners could really utilize him. Jaquiski Tartt was in there. Jaquiski Tartt came out in that second half. Talanoa Hufanga went in, and there wasn't a whole lot of difference in terms of how the Niners defense and secondary was operating. That was the good news. The even better news for the Niners is once he went down and you were resulted to putting Dante Johnson out there in the safety position, that things continue to stay at a pretty high level for the 49ers. And we'll get to that conversation here in a little bit, but that's just unfortunate for Talanoa Hufanga. I think both of us were excited about the direction he's been going and where his development has really been taking him and this team. This was going to be a big opportunity. If no Jaquiski Tartt was there, if Hufanga is available, this is your moment, young rook. This is a big time rivalry game. A rivalry restored after 27 years of not facing each other in the playoffs. Hufanga was going to have an opportunity to step up as a rookie in a big spot with Ambry Thomas out there, another rookie on defense, and really having a big role and an impact. And it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Updates on Azeez, Shire, and Marcel Harris. Kyle expects to have both of them back this week. He's hoping that's going to be the case. I think this was kind of the timeline that they had set for, at least for Azeez Shire. They're hoping, you add Marcel Harris as well. That's even more depth at the linebacker position. Nothing definitive from Kyle Shanahan. Is this one of those things where the plan is to get Azeez back this week and Kyle's just going to say nothing until the last minute, Ant? Or is Kyle not saying anything? Does that give you some pause and some concern?
I honestly do think Azeez is up in the air. I think this has always been up in the air. They were hoping he was going to be back. The fact that they were pushing so hard for him to come back against the Rams, I think gives there a chance for him to be able to come back against the Cowboys. But I definitely don't think that this is something that I'm looking at as a 50-50 chance. I actually think it's a little bit on the more negative side. But I would say maybe 60-40, in the negative that he doesn't play. But I think there is a 40% chance that he could play in this game, and he could be beneficial for the 49ers. You just wonder, because you're going against the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott, your real worry is going to be in the secondary. Your worry is going to be about stopping this pass. You might want to try to wait on Azeez one more week. Azeez is not as valuable against the pass as he is against the run. And when you go against somebody like the Packers, you'll need him to help stop that outside zone. So if he's not ready, you might not try to make him push it and come back a little bit early. But go to your strengths. Use a Marcel Harris, used to be a strong safety. Go ahead and run an extra DB out there in situations because they've already proven they can stop the run with 7 men in the box. They can probably stop the run in the nickel, and maybe Dallas is going to afford them that opportunity to just stay in the nickel. And in those cases, they wouldn't need Azeez out there anyway. So I think that it's going to depend on, how they deem this matchup going, what they plan on running, and how close Azeez is to actually being healthy.
It's hard to say that I agree with you on this, and not because I don't agree, because I do agree with you. It's because I want to see this linebacking core. I want to see all three of them out there. But it does kind of make sense. The Niners have had success stopping the run in situations in which you've only had 7 in the box. And sometimes that's been really your front 6 and your nickel cornerback coming into the box at times, or walking down a safety if you need be, and keeping 6 to 7 in the box and having success. So if you have Dre Greenlaw the way he just played this week and Fred Warner, why can't you do that against this O line for the Cowboys, which isn't as bad as the Rams. I would say it's slightly better than the Rams O-line. It's definitely better on the interior from what we've seen. But they definitely have some pieces missing at both tackle spots. They've had some injuries there. So there's weaknesses there. Why can't this front get it done without Azeez Shire? If Azeez needs one more week to be healthy, 100% healthy, and to have his biggest impact of the season against a team like the Packers, which, need that run game to get going a little bit in order for them to have some success or be able to continue sustained success, and Rodgers be able to have the timing, quick rhythm throws that we saw in that first matchup against the Niners, then that run game has to do something, right? It can't be like the Rams that we just saw where they rushed for 50 yards on 20 carries, and Rodgers be able to sit back there and just time throw. You can't do that. It's not going to happen. He's going to have to hold on the ball a little bit longer. They're going to have to try and get those 10, 12-yard passes at times because they'll be getting negative yards on first down. So, yeah, if you're the Niners, if you can wait one more week, you do, because 100% Azeez is better than a 75% Azeez who could potentially bang himself up more and maybe not be available the next week. And Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles and Marcel Harris have shown they're more than serviceable. At this point, the way that they've both been playing, they both have stepped up in a huge way. They can get the job done for this 49ers linebacking core. You only need them for 25% of the snaps, and the both of them can share that 25% and have an impact in a positive way for the 49ers this weekend against the Cowboys.
Yeah, and then you got extreme depth with Mark Nzocha, because Nzocha has started football games for your team in the past, and he's there to play special teams. But you no longer have to worry about, if one of these guys go down on special teams that you don't have backups, because you do. And the fact that you can go stop people in the nickel, it just makes it so much easier. You can play with less linebackers. But I think Dre and Fred, afford you the time to wait on Azeez. I think if Azeez is ready to go, he's going to go out there and roll. We'll just see if he can get ready in time.
God, I hope he can. Ant. And from injury updates to, I guess losing Adam Peters updates. And I don't like this. This is not a good thing to hear, but it was bound to happen at some point because Adam Peters in this front office has done a great job. And the New York Giants have requested permission to interview both Adam Peters and Ryan Carthen in their GM search. Carthen is the director of player personnel for the 49ers. And obviously Adam Peters is the assistant GM for the 49ers. The Giants have asked permission. Now, there was a reporter that asked Kyle Shanahan, asked Kyle Shanahan about this, and Kyle said at the time that he was asked that no one had reached out to him yet about this, and then not too long after that, someone from the Giants did, and Peter Schrager is the one who reported it from NFL Network and NFL on Fox. He's going to be a hot commodity. He is going to be a hot commodity. Is there any way that the 49ers can do anything to make it so that they don't lose Adam Peters?
The only way they can do it, I think, at this point, because he was in for some jobs last year, including Carolina. I think Jacksonville would be interested in him. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens in Miami, but I think there's definitely going to be opportunities for Adam Peters, and he's a very good talent evaluator. So if you're trying to build your team from the ground up, Gettleman only wanted big people. So Adam Peters to New York would make a lot of sense for them. The one thing is the 49ers could also avoid this if they, promote him. But promoting him to GM would mean that you would have to get a new role for John Lynch. Is he ready to take over as, the vice president? Or is that what he's ready to do? Is he ready to move up to that different role? I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I don't know if that's something they need, or if they believe that Adam Peters is that valuable that they need to go ahead and change things up. Or maybe they believe that, hey, you know what, Adam Peters deserves his, right to go run a team, and he's going to go do that. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before not only do you lose front office guys, we lost Mayhew last year. Sure. So if Peters does go, the one thing we get out of it is we're going to get a compensatory pick. So hello, third round compensatory pick.
Third round compensatory pick potentially in the future for the 49ers. The question just is, right, is Adam Peters worth that third round compensatory pick? If the Niners think, this guy has some gems in his pocket, which he's shown it. He definitely has gems in his pocket somewhere that he will find. Is that worth losing right now, Ant, or can you stave off that inevitability or that possibility by being able to promote him from within? We're just got to wait to see.
There's the possibility too, Alex, that the Giants just flub this up. It's not like the Giants, haven't made mistakes.
They have to wine and dine him. Well, they have to wine and dine him, right? He has to want that job. He has to believe that he can turn this around and he's not going to get stepped on and interfered with by management and other things like that and the owner. Number one. But number two, they also have to pull the trigger on him, right? So he has to go in there, wow them, and then be like, yeah, I want this guy. Here's the problem, though. I think you and I don't think this is the only interview he's getting, right? This is not the only team that's going to
I would wait
inquire about his services.
I would wait. I mean, if Mike Mayock gets fired, with Las Vegas, or you have some of these other, there's going to be more jobs I think that are a little more enticing that he might want to go after. So he might want to wait, but I mean, you never know when you're going to get your opportunity. So if the Giants make a sweet enough deal, he might take it.
He might very well take it, Ant. God, I don't want him to go, but you know what? He is one heck of a front office guy. He's one heck of an assistant GM. He is going to make one hell of a general manager for an organization somewhere, and whoever gets him is going to be great, Ant, and they're going to be fortunate enough to have him. Let's hope the Niners can stave that up just a little bit longer. Let's keep him around for one more draft, huh? Just one more.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he found Ambry Thomas, Ambry Thomas is one of his guys. That just proves, he sees the talent there, and he's a great talent evaluator. So hopefully they can keep him. He's a definite fixture that we would like to keep in San Francisco for a long time.
Very true, Ant. Very true. The Niners did have 3 gentlemen they moved on to the Coov list, Ant, from the practice squad. That would be cornerback Luke Barku, quarterback Tyler Bray, and fullback Josh Hockett. All 3 of those guys go on the Coov list. You hate to see that. The Niners also signed tight end Tanner Hudson to the practice squad, so adding some depth there at the tight end position, Ant. Was it Deommodore? Yeah, Deommodore Lenoir was activated off the Coov list, Ant. So we get Demo back. You add 3 practice squad players to the Coov list, and then you brought in a practice squad tight end. I like seeing not Ambry Thomas, but Deommodore Lenoir coming off and being activated off the Coov list now and being available for the 49ers. The full depth of the cornerback room is officially back, baby.
Yeah, I think the 49ers are healthy in a lot of areas. The defensive line, the linebacker core is getting healthier every single day. And then now you got the cornerbacks who are going to be really strengthened. You add the fact that Darqueze Dennard came in and played so well. You got to feel comfortable, with that grouping together. It'll be interesting to see who the active players are going to be. Will Deommodore Lenoir be active, or will they want to roll with a veteran like Dennard? We'll see. I think a lot of it's going to depend on what we end up talking about in the safety talk.
100% and 100%. And right before we get to the safety talk, I did want to point out Kyle Shanahan was asked about this 49ers rivalry with the Cowboys, how excited he is about it, and, how fired up the players were. And Kyle basically mentioned that, look, the Niners are pumped up for this. The team is ready to go. We're ready for 49ers Cowboys. But it's been 27 years since the Niners and Cowboys played, and most of the players on this roster were born in the 2000s. Kyle doesn't think these guys know much about the history of the 49ers. Kyle knows about the history because Kyle was on the sideline for a nice chunk of all of this that was going on with the 49ers and Cowboys historic rivalry, especially in the 90s when he was a kid coming up. But most of these kids were born in 2000, and per Kyle Shanahan, in quarterback meetings, in the quarterback room, when he makes references to Wedding Crashers, they don't understand the reference. And my heart sank just a little bit. How could you not? Now they need to lock it up, Ant. They need to lock up that quarterback room.
Oh yeah, it's time. It's time to start watching some movies. It's time to put together a movie list. It's time to start marking some of those off the list because Wedding Crashers is something that everyone should watch. I mean, it's just one of those great movies. I really enjoy it, and the fact that my quarterback room doesn't know about it, it makes me question Nate the Great. I mean, come on.
I never know
if you're going to bring something to the table, bring Wedding Crashers.
I never know what they're doing back there in the quarterback room, man. I really, truly don't. I don't know what they're doing back there.
People and people.
It's just people helping people, and that's all. That's all you can do. It's what we're trying to do here is help the quarterback room. But let's get on to more pressing matters, and because safety talk and what is going on with the safety room and what the Niners are going to do about the safety room is a big question heading into this game. The strength of the Cowboys is the pass game. It's Dak Prescott's arm. It's the weapons on the outside, and Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Albert Wilson now, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard out of the backfield at times as well for them. And your secondary needs to be able to play at a high level, and you may not have your starting safety in Jaquiski Tartt. You may not have the backup in Jaquiski Tartt, the starter, and Talanoa Hufanga, the backup, which means you may be rolling with Tavon Wilson, the other Wilson who's not Tavon Wilson, or Dante Johnson. What are the 49ers going to do at the safety position? What needs to happen?
I think they might roll with Dante Johnson. I think that if both Tartt and Hufanga are both going to be out, then yeah, they might activate Tavon Wilson as well and roll with Tavon Wilson and Dante Johnson. But it appeared to me Dante Johnson looked very comfortable playing safety. And when I watched some of his coverage, I didn't get to see it all, but when I watched some of it, because I haven't watched the all 22, he looked to be in the right spots and knew what he was doing. Fred Warner had alluded to this earlier in the year that Dante Johnson was a smart dude that had been learning safety and learning a lot of different positions. So they had been preparing for this situation. I think they probably were looking to use him as a third safety in obvious pass downs because he's pretty good in coverage. And what we noticed is that he does a pretty good job. He was sticking his head in there and getting dirty during the the run attempts from the Rams with run fits. So I think it might be Dante Johnson. Maybe he has earned himself some snaps. 49ers have been pulling the right strings as far as putting guys in the right spots to be successful. Maybe this is one for him. We talked a little bit about on the reaction show, a little bit about, Merton Hanks, how he went from corner to safety, which felt like a more natural position. Maybe that is something that helps Dante Johnson and ultimately helps the 49ers in the playoffs against a very pass-heavy Dallas Cowboys team.
Look, here's the other thing with DJ. We've been saying this all year, right? It seems like the Niners he's just one of those guys. He's always going to be around this team. He's always going to be around this roster. He's just going to be available. Part of that is because he's so diverse and so dynamic and has basically put on so many hats with his organization. Corner, check. Nickel corner, check. Safety, check. That's a lot of hats to wear. Special teams guy, check. That's a lot of hats to wear. And look, in the nickel role, one of the things I always liked about Dante Johnson was how involved he was in run fits in the nickel role when he would step in and play in the nickel. I loved that about him. I felt he was getting downhill, getting in on tackles. He wasn't a liability. So him playing safety, I'm not really that worried about him in run fits. The real question is coverage. And I think that's going to be the big thing for us is when we go back and watch this All-22 film is being able to watch Dante Johnson in that second half there in the later portions of that game as a coverage guy and what he was doing and what his roles and responsibilities were. I imagine that it's going to take away from disguises and opportunities like that for Dante Johnson. But look, it is what it is. You can only play with the cards you've been dealt. But I think Dante Johnson has enough of a grasp on this. They're going to be able to do enough with DJ, and D'Amico will be able to do enough with DJ that there'll be success for the secondary.
I bet you he understands all of it. I mean, he's a guy that's been in the system for a long time. I bet you he can understand where to be and what to do at any case. That's why they're talking about him being such a smart guy. I think he can do it. There's been players, a lot of players, like Charles Haley, for instance, that he knew every single player on the defense, what they did. Maybe Dante Johnson's one of those guys. And if you have an understanding of where you need to be, it's really all about executing the game plan, too, because you put in a defense that week. As long as he understands where he's supposed to be within that defense and those looks, he'll be fine. I think that he's going to be an advantage for the 49ers in coverage. The question will he be as good as Jaquiski, Tartt, and those guys around the box, in the box? Definitely not better than Tartt in any area of the game, but I think he's a better option than, say, Tavon Wilson or even Talanoa Hufanga in coverage because he's just a better coverage guy. You just wonder if when he's in the box, if he's going to have the same value that those guys ultimately have.
Or do the Niners need to seriously consider Josh Norman at the safety position?
Maybe. I mean, I did bring this up. It's a possibility. It all depends on if he can translate that to his game. I mean, it is a different position, but he's a skilled enough athlete to be able to handle it. And when you're playing safety, you don't have to be as fast as you are as a corner. You're not often put on an island. He's going to be covering grass. So this is a guy that if he's in a deep cover three, a deep third, he can definitely handle the middle of the field. He's not afraid to tackle. He can stick his head in there. Now, is he as good as a tackler as some of the other guys? No. But he can definitely do that. So let's see if they translate him to that role. Or if they just go, with the guys they already know, Dante Johnson, Tavon Wilson, we'll see what happens. But it may be the only way for Norman to get back on the field, barring injury, because it appears that, the other two got between Mosley and Aubrey Thomas, they got a complete stranglehold on that cornerback position.
That they do, and Aubrey Thomas and Emmanuel Mosley have a stranglehold in the position. Both of them are playing extremely well right now, and you love to see it. You truly do. You love to see the rookie stepping up here at the end of the season. Giving everyone not a pause, but a calming feeling about the cornerback room, and Emmanuel Mosley has been lights out for the 49ers all year. We said it before the year. E-Man was the man for the job. He's been the man, especially when he's been on the field. E-Man, thank you so much. This team couldn't have the success it has if you haven't come on the way that you've come on the last few years in San Francisco, the way he has. And it's great to see. You love to see it. And now we just wait to see what's going to happen with the rest of the safety room and with the rest of some of these pieces, hopefully coming back this week for the 49ers. This is a huge week, playoff week, super wild card weekend, and 49ers Cowboys, 27 years in the making, 27 years waiting, and I'm pumped. I'm jacked for it, man. I'm jacked.
This camera's giving me all kinds of fits.
It's all good. You'll eventually get there. That's the one you want. That's the one you want. Yeah.
Over there. Oh,
over there. Wherever
anyways,
it is.
Yeah.
And big yikes. Big yikes, and
There you go. Struggles with cameras when it's on mirror mode seems to be a real problem for me. Not much of a selfie guy as it would be out.
I'm stunned. I think this is a problem for both of us. I know that I struggle with this as well, especially the at-home setup being here, right, remote, away from you.
Yeah.
The first day I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna look over at Ant, and I was like, okay, this is the way, right? And then a couple times I did this and would look over at my monitor, and it was like, oh, that's not it. That's Ant. That's Ant. That's my monitor. Ant, monitor. Ant, monitor. It's all good. We'll figure it out. Cutback crew. But hey, Cutback crew, let us know what you thought about all of these injury updates. Let us know what you think about this Adam Peters situation. Do the 49ers need to tell John Lynch, hey, it's time for a promotion, we need to keep this guy? Or are you fine with the third-round compensatory pick? Let us know in the comment section down below. Are you excited about Demo being back? And what should the 49ers do at the safety position? You let us know in the comment section down below right now. And while you're doing that, don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Become the newest member of the Cutback crew. Tons of great content all week long. Come at your face. You don't want to miss any of it.
Yeah, I'm getting excited about this week as it's building. You can kind of feel the playoff energy. It's starting to get there. Everyone's coming up. Everyone's ready for this 49ers Cowboys, and all the fans, even though the players may not understand about this rivalry, the fans definitely do. And they know this one runs deep all the way back into the 70s. This is a big time game for the 49ers. Maybe a renewed rivalry with the Cowboys. Maybe we can do this every single year again. But there's one thing I know. I can't stand the Cowboys. I want the 49ers to get the win. I don't care, how this looks eventually. 49ers need to win. Get it done against the boys. I do not want to relive a loss to the Cowboys again because the 90s were tough on me, Alex. I did not like those times. Niners, get it done.
Look, Ant, I can't usually do this when I'm in the studio, but I'm at home in my home office. I got a pickaxe up there behind me. You can see it right over there. I'm ready to grab that pickaxe, and like the 49ers, I'm ready to go gold mining for some Cowboy tears. That's what I want. Cowboys tears all over AT&T. That means 49ers fans showing out in force. That means the Niners taking care of business, sacking Dak Prescott. Just execute. Execute for 4 quarters, Ant. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking forward to this weekend. Cutback crew, I hope you're excited. I hope the energy is high because it's playoff week. It's playoff week right here on the 49ers Cutback. Your 49ers versus the Cowboys this weekend. Make sure you're here for all the great content all week. And until the next one, stay safe.
I remember the right way is always the 49ers way.